This edition of MacVoices is sponsored by lynda.com, the unparalleled online video training library. For a free 10-day unlimited trial, visit lynda.com/MacVoices. Hi, I'm Chuck Joyner, and this is MacVoices at WWDC in San Francisco and the AltConf. I'm here with Richard of Ind13 magazine talking about what he's doing here at the AltConf. Richard, it's good to meet you.
Yes, same here. Good to see you.
So first of all, let's just start this. What is Ind13?
It's basically an indie game magazine for developers, which we came up with like over 1.5 years ago. So we had this idea of giving more, giving the community of indie game developers like a platform where you can actually share what they're up to. It's kind of inspired by the movie Indie Game, the movie. Maybe you've seen that, and I think it's very inspiring to see what the people are doing. It's kind of like the Big Brother version in a way. Like it's interesting to see what's behind the stage and only how they make the cake. And I think that's really inspired us to do kind of a similar way on a website.
So is this a paper publication or is this an internet publication?
So far it's only an internet and online publication, which we issue like every 3 or 4 months. So we try to make it like it looks like a paper magazine, but you can download it for free and then you have a look also on your laptop or your iPhone or whatever. So it's really handy as well to just see like an extract of what we have on the website, but the website has also different content. So going kind of both ways at the moment.
I think it makes sense. You know, we talk about so often that paper is dead. Paper presents a lot of problems. And this way you can distribute to everyone who's interested the way you want to distribute and do it faster, cheaper, easier for you.
That's right, yeah. And we're looking also at getting our apps out as well, like having a proper news stand magazine as well. It's becoming more, on a broader scale, available for all our other customers who are interested to have like like the kind of old-fashioned way of collecting magazines, and then subscribing to them. So that's my wish that we have that implemented soon as well. And also the other part is going a little bit more on the cutting-edge side of things. I'm also a virtual reality evangelist, so we want to actually be one of the first magazines to publish a VR version of that, so people can actually read our magazine with the Oculus Rift or their cardboard.
I know a few people who are very excited about virtual reality. I'm still in the wait-and-see mode. I want to see how it's going to work, but definitely the first place it's going to happen will be gaming.
Exactly. So I'm around with, and I'm a developer myself, so I'm very keen to see and try out virtual reality for like 3 years now, I think, when Oculus came out with the first version on, and it's very interesting to see all the Morpheus came out, I think last year it was, or something like that, and then all the others catching up. Now we have Gear VR already out in the market for early adopters and developers, and I think it's very, very cool to just see how fast actually moved towards an end consumer product, and you can also play a lot of cool games, but also watch 360 movies, which I think is another big part of the new experiences you can see these days coming up, also in terms of investments from angel and VC investors.
Where are you out of? Are you, obviously we're all meeting in San Francisco, but are you in the US or are you in Europe? Or?
I'm traveling around a bit here and there to really spread the word and say, basically tell people about us. And I'm more at the moment based in Europe, and our magazine is basically a London, UK-based magazine. But obviously, I think it's just a great magazine now. After 1.5 years, that we really want to include everyone in the community around the world and tell everyone about it.
So, being here at WWDC and the AltConf, you're getting to talk to a lot of developers. Obviously, you're trading tips, but you're also finding out what they're thinking. What are the trends in game development, and did you see anything happen at the Apple keynote that is going to really affect game development?
I think the interesting thing is about what I saw in the keynote speeches, the Swift, the open source announcement, which I found very interesting coming from Apple, that they open up this new programming language to everyone basically, and it was interesting to see what happened after that and how the community will use it. So I think that's a big step forward to open up and to include more with new kits as well for game developers to make it easier for them to develop games for that platform as well. So that's what I see mostly happening at the moment.
So it's more an ease of development as opposed to maybe a really cool new feature or capability.
Yeah, that's one thing. I think the other thing I think was interesting. They actually always try to improve the performance. So I think they're I don't know the numbers now, but it's like much faster than it was last year with Metal and the layers they have for it's all working behind the scenes. I mean, developers don't really care about that. It's just that they can now create richer worlds with more environmental add-ons and assets than they could do before on the smartphone or even on the Mac. And I think that's very interesting that they're actually always trying to improve the performance and make it a better experience at the end for the player, but also easier for developers to integrate more of the assets and creating a world that they really want to see on smaller platforms.
And you took me exactly where I wanted to go, because what we saw at the keynote was primarily for the Mac, the announcements about Metal and all. But where does game development stand for iOS, for the iPhone and the iPad? Because mobile gaming seems to be almost getting to be a bigger thing. It may not be as rich an experience, but it definitely is one that people are picking up, and they play them in line at the grocery store, play them on the bus on the way to work or whatever. Much shorter term experiences.
Yeah, I mean, you see it a lot happening with a lot of people just pick it up quickly. It's like the Starbucks test, I think I call it in some some companies. Like really, you have just the time to between ordering a latte and picking it up at Starbucks, and you play a game at a short time, or on the bus or so forth and so on. So I do the same thing actually. So I completely understand where you're coming from. So it's really about the micro game experiences, so to speak. It's just I have a little bit of time to kill. Let's play a little bit of a game, and I think that's one avenue. But I also think there's still like people now playing like there's card games, and those are, I think. This is a long-term thing as well, so you can play a small game like for a short duration, but then obviously play it through a longer period of time, and obviously then that gives you, like a greater experience, overall experience of the game as well. I think there are different ways, and obviously there's still companies out there that like I think Sid Meier's with his Starship's Fate. It's a full-fledged game. You have to pay premium price for that. It's not free to play at all. And I bought it because I like what he develops, and I like this theme, so I bought it. And also still the other side where you actually want to play a game, like I'm coming from this old school, playing a game and getting it in a box, reading the manual sometimes, and then I'm just starting a game, right? So those days are over now, but I think for some people who are coming from this decade I come from, they're still appreciating this, oh yeah, I can buy a premium game, I know what I get, I don't have hidden costs coming at me at a later stage, and I'm just enjoying the experience up front. Yeah.
How does, I'm going to go back to the Mac platform, how does the Mac platform stack up against the PC platform? So often I hear, and I'm not a gamer, and anybody that watches the show knows that, but I hear so many complaints about, well, if you're really serious about gaming, you've got to have a PC, and you have to have a hot PC. Is that still true?
I think it depends. I mean, me personally, I'm having a MacBook Pro, and I wouldn't give it away anymore. I still work on the other side as well with other operating systems, and I mean, I still, some games are not available, which become later available. For example, Elite Dangerous. It wasn't available for Mac, which is a little bit annoying, but they promised they would release a version for the Mac later. Obviously, it has certain requirements on hardware, but obviously you can scale it down and all that. So I think that it's not so much an issue about Mac or other systems. It's more like, is the developer committed to actually develop it or convert it? And I think with game engines out there which are now doing most of the transition in a matter of minutes, converting it from one platform to another. There's no excuse if you use that platform to actually bring it out and reach a wider audience. And I love what I have on my Mac, and I use Steam as well. In the Steam, I can see which games are available on which platforms, and I'm always happy if I can download it on my Mac and play it on the go.
Are you, given that you're a Mac owner, are you satisfied with the performance you're getting out of your Mac for the games on Steam and for the other games that are released for the Mac?
I think the games I play, yes. I think I haven't really tried the high range of games to play them on the Mac yet. I probably should try it out because I bought just a newer version and it has everything I think I need. So I should give it a go. I don't really have time yet to play games, sadly as it is. I'm just talking about them, and I'm really excited about what other people create and the future it holds. So I have to say, probably have to try it out and come back next time and tell you more about it, but I haven't done a test yet on that. Yeah.
All right, it's a date. Right here, next year, I want an update.
For certain, yeah.
Right. What's the website where people go to learn more about Ind13, maybe subscribe or download the magazine?
Sorry, say again?
The website?
Yeah, it's called Ind13.com. It's like... It's a lead spelling which we came up with because we're trying to get just a short 5-letter version of IND, like the indie.com version. Obviously, that 5-letter domain name is very expensive, and we start with no money at all. Basically, we're still doing it voluntarily on the side. We don't have really the fundings yet to go crazy like other magazines. But yeah, that's at the moment we are scaling up, and we're getting more and more readers as well on the magazine. Really happy to see. The more I travel, the more readers we have, and the more people coming back to us, and actually finding people all over the world doing articles for us and exposing themselves as well to the public about what they're doing and talking about it. So it's really great.
Richard, it's great to talk to you. Thank you so much for enlightening us a little bit, because I haven't talked to any game developers yet here, and it's always interesting to see what is happening in that area, because games seem to lead the way so much of the time.
Exactly. I think it's like everything in the gaming world is so like obviously the games are created always. They have this appetite of more performance, better specs for the PC or Mac or whatever it is, for the hardware itself. So it's like always, I know it for myself as a game developer, I always want to add more content, which obviously, and if we go to in terms of 3-dimensional 3D models, you want to pack it as full as you can. So I sometimes go crazy with all that, and then realizing on a smartphone it actually doesn't perform as well. So I have to take away a few things or optimize the performance occasionally. But obviously, that's changing a lot with the hardware on the smartphones these days. I mean, you always see these iterations getting better and better and better. So I think coming from a background of playing games over 3 decades now, I always bought a better rig to play the games I couldn't play on the older one, and I was always envious about people who already had the better one, and I obviously had to get the money somehow to buy it as well as a kid and all that. So coming from a Commodore background and all that, the good old days. So and then obviously playing games most of the time, and then later finding myself saturated with playing games and trying to create my own things, and obviously and also support the community around it, because I think it's just such a great field environment to work with so many creative people who are kind of thinking differently, not inside the box, outside the box, and it's just great to see what they come up with.
That's the great thing I think about WWDC and the Alt Conference. Passionate people who are committed to what they're doing, they're excited about it. It's an infectious environment.
Exactly, and I think that's why I always come back. It's just like that's the real drug I really need all the time. It's like coming back and soaking up all this enthusiasm and the passion about it. And I think that's what's great about these events in the first place.
Well, we'll see you here next year, if not before. But thank you for talking to us.
Same here. Thank you very much.
Folks, we'll have more from the Alt Conference and WWDC in San Francisco. This is MacVoices, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the MacVoices blog. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the MacVoices Dispatch, to stay up to date on all the latest MacVoices news, from our front page or at MacVoices.com/newsletter. Do more with your Apple tech by subscribing to the free MacVoices magazine on Flipboard by visiting MacVoices.com/magazine. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at BackbeatMedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.